talk to each other about certain pasts, certain things that have happened, and confront your pasts to get over the issues that, if it were to come up from someone else's uh, coming at that information from another point of view, it could have been much worse. So Seer told. I have no clue. Well, anyways, you talk to your brother and you talk to Ganesh about things in your past. And after that, you all began to pack up, ready yourselves, and leave. Finding a new goal for yourselves. I believe at the last session that we had, you all had a final decision to follow Belric in his search for someone he knows, to find something. And that is where we're going to pick up. So, you all have a mission, I believe. So, how are you going to complete your mission? Okay. So you're windwalking then. Does Senti have this ability at the moment? So, okay. So Senti casts Windwalk. Takes a bit of time, but suddenly you all feel yourselves almost able to float and be weightless, as you can now turn into clouds. So, westward. Fair. Okay. Um, do you all want to draw me a route that you take to fly across the land? Um, Okay. Mm-mm. Not yet. Yeah. Yeah. If you want, you can even use like a drawing tool, and just like draw out the map if you really wanted to. Yeah. So it's kind of permanent on the map for now. I'm just trying to remember the exact amount of distance you can travel with this. Yeah. I think you can travel 204 miles. Yeah. So in 8 hours, you can travel 204.5 miles. So there's a yeah. You even just go home. I mean, yeah. But now, but now you're clouds. Treysock. Okay. Okay. You all begin to follow the leader as Belric in cloud form seems to zoom ahead of the rest of you, taking the lead as you all drift through the sky as these just strange clouds. And it is during the day, so it is kind of a strange sight to see clouds just zooming their way across the sky, um, fighting against the wind. Um, so, the first things you would see as you begin flying upwards is the city around you seems to fall back and draw back, almost like it's retreating into the mountain as you get further and further from it. Um, make a perception check, everyone. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. So, as you all begin flying high, high above the city, the distance you can see grows ever greater. And you see a lot. For some of you, that means seeing far off places such as Bastion, the city of Belric and Gamesh, off way in the distance near a large section of forest. For others of you, you see strange cities you've yet to visit, located in small, distant valleys. Most of you just see different bits of the countryside. Especially to the south, you see large fortifications, castles, and the like, dotting the horizon. But, Seer, there's strangely something that you see that kind of catches your attention. Far, far away, just south of one of the cities located in a valley within the same mountain range, you see some sort of light breaking the surface. It takes a moment to catch it and what you think it could be, but you're pretty sure that you see a volcano somewhere over there. Over here. You see what seems to be a flash of light, and you see a large plume beginning to make its way up into the sky. But you all keep moving. Following Belric's cloud form, you begin flying across these rocky plains of this area, noting many small, minor villages and huts and farms, people scraping out a living here as best they can. But most of it seems to be quarries and mines. This place is dotted with holes as people work as much material out of the land as they can. As you begin approaching a another mountain range, you begin to see a sight that you saw once before, flying this direction. You begin to fly over the walled city of Borodor, a massive castle complex filled with soldiers training in a massive yard. It's as if they're training an entire army. Pillars of smoke rise high, high into the sky as you pass over whole streets, whole quarters of this city that are merely blacksmithies, as this city seems far more industrialized than others you've seen. You begin to fly close to Stanton, seeing the partial broken down outer city and the rebuilt inner city. As you begin flying over the Riverine Forest, to the south you see a small lake town, similar to that of a lake town that one of you has been to before. And soon you begin cresting over the capital. Stretching before you the familiar streets, the large castle at the top. But you keep going. So, Belric, how are you looking for what you're seeking?
I mean, other than just looking for him, I would maybe try to use my divine sense if I can maybe see any connection from that at all.
Make a religion check. 12. You try and use your divine sense to tap into what your God showed you. Just mere moments, well, just earlier in the day, essentially. But it's hard to reach them. As you were sleeping, it was more of a. It was probably easier to contact you through sleep and dreams than in person. And even it, especially in this cloud form, it's kind of hard to be religious. It's hard to sit down and pray and put thought towards this action. So you just keep flying?
Yeah, I'll keep flying.
Okay. You crest over the city of Renton. Just at this point, it's probably only been 5 hours or so as you begin cresting over empty forests. This section of the land seems a little bit more sparse as you get closer to these mountains. You pass over the road to Draken and head closer to the mountains. And do you want to try again?
Yeah, I'll do it again.
Make a religion check. 16. As you begin flying and you reach the end of where you planned on searching, just flying over this terrain, you begin to feel a little disheartened as you've been flying for around 6 hours or so and nothing. And that's when you begin to just think back on your deity, on Millil, and you swear. And just to the north of where you are, the sound of some distant melody pricks your ear.
Yeah, then I guess hearing that, I'll just say everyone, follow me this way, and I'll just fly way towards the melody.
Yeah. I don't think you can talk. Um, yeah. I mean, interesting. Interesting. Huh. I would be concerned. At that point, I would hope I had the spell Skywrite, and I would just mess with the clouds that were moving. It is. Um, There are light clouds as you are in this area, by the way.
Yeah, I guess I was just trying to make it as obvious as possible if I change directions.
Yeah,
So I had,
they're all following you. They can see a moving cloud. It's not too bad. Okay. You begin flying northward, and you begin seeing a familiar city of Draken, one that you've passed by before. Um, what do you do?
I guess I just looked out for four, that's all.
Make a religion check. The song doesn't find you at this point. But you were probably closer to your goal. And your spell is closer to ending. What do you all wish to do? You are now over Draken.
Yeah, I think that all depends on how we roll because the Mexican probably feels
That's
like,
why I went.
yeah, but it does look like it's not. Yeah, we'll just sign.
Okay. Do you land outside of the city, or do you just find an alleyway?
Land outside of the city.
Okay. Landing outside the city, easy enough. You find a clearing that has a tree with a fist mark in it, and yeah, you're able to turn back into your material form if you wished. So,
What time day is it like right now?
um, it took you a little bit longer in the city of Don Willow talking to Sear's brother and traversing it in general. So I'd say the 8 hour travel. I'd say it's like close to 6 o'clock. Sun's beginning to like fall beyond the mountains as people begin, coming in for the night. Yeah,
So I'm guessing we landed.
yeah. You,
We landed and we're supposed to transfer.
no longer clouds.
Oh man, now there's two layers. Man, we'll make the most of the place now as well. I don't know. So I'm guessing nothing will be stuck out there, right? There was only one part, but and that's it. But could be nearby here, so I'll definitely keep looking around here. So we might.
No, it's like 6 o'clock at night.
Oh, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, the sun's cresting over the mountains. It's beginning to set.
Alright, so so you're looking now. Right? You're not gonna rest yet. Still looking. I personally wanna keep looking. Alright, you guys are looking pretty nice. That's funny. Yep, then I guess for I guess all of us who wants to come, then I'll just keep I guess exploring the city, try and listen about where I heard the melody previously.
Okay. Anyone else heading into the city?
Well, that's a question.
Do I don't remember. Do you all know what he's searching for?
He's searching for well, well, specifically, he's looking for something. But
I don't know if he's told you who.
I thought I did, but I could be wrong. I think he gave. He had like a name. I'm looking at it now. Like I don't think he had a name or anything. He just gave like a thing he was searching for.
I'm pretty sure he has a name.
I don't remember a name. I remember just a guy to the left.
Well, this may be a good time to fill them in.
All right. So let me get this right before we start filling in. So you're just looking for some random guy. What you guys doing? Well, not some random guy. Basically, we're looking for essentially my old paladin master, Ushengmin, and he's basically my purpose is to find him because he stole an artifact from the church. So I'm out here looking for him. Okay, see that changes the game quite a bit. All right, what is he like? Well, bugbear, kind of tall, probably clad in classic paladin armor. Could probably dissemble him a little on him, but not sure if he would kept that on him or not. What do you got that's what he stole? It's a heart. Yep, Bugbear. beautiful looking heart. Bugbear. Awesome. I love it. Okay, now we know what we're looking for. Um, no, that he is well trained. He's the one who trained me up to full staff. Yeah, try your best not to kill him, but if it happens, it happens.
Okay. So you are all splitting up, and are you asking around for this individual, or are you just looking for them? Okay. Okay. How about Fairdeer in your group? Um. Okay. And then locate. And for locate creature, as long as you know their name, you can cast it for Senti. Okay. So the people, um, as you all begin to spread around the town to ask around, is there a specific place any of you go? Okay. Um, Seer, where do you head? Yep. Aaron Schiefer. Okay. Okay. And Faradir, where are you heading? Yeah. Um, yeah, he's the one that brought out the other book. Yeah. Sounds like a plan. Okay. Um, so I'll start off with Gamesh and Belric as you head towards the Silver Cloaks. Um, Heading in, so you begin to ask around for this individual. Um, do you go to any particular person within it? Okay. If you're if you're just asking general guards, make an investigation check. Either both of you can, or you can do it with one of you at advantage.
Zero.
Okay. Asking around with the guards, they have not spotted anyone um, who matches that description. They say they'll keep an eye out for you though if they do happen to see them. Okay.
Yep, never is. No, and that's the scary part. I honestly don't like. I'm not even sure if the hunt was real in the first place, but I assume if he stole it, it is real. So, but it is a legendary artifact from Malil, which was created by Malil actually. Yeah.
Okay. And this is like I'm the one investigation check is just like you asking basically the entire guard force that you can see. Like you ask dozens, if not like 50 guards, if you've seen this individual. So this takes like about an hour to do. Okay. Um, okay. You all have investigated the Silvercloaks. Seer, you and Senti, right? Okay. Both of you are heading towards the Scales Tavern, which you have been in many times. A large three-story building in the center of town, in that main open courtyard. The large silver dragon statue sits on top of the fountain in the dead center of the city. Let me just. Okay. Walking in, immediately you see to your direct left side is a large bar. Many drinks line the back shelf. And the place is somewhat um, quiet for being in the middle of the city. You would expect to have many guests and patrons. It's a little bit more um, just like a chill bar. Behind the counter, you see a male tiefling with dark crimson skin, with long curled ram-like horns. This seems to be Richtoff. He's kind of wiping down some of the drinks and looks up. Oh, hello. Richtoff, cleaning the glass, kind of looks up at you. Immediately seems to recognize you. Gives a nod of his head. Let me know if I can be of any help. Um, can you describe him? Okay.
Below.
You see, he thinks for a moment. I think I did see him then. I think he stayed here. Yeah. Shakes his head. This had to have been maybe 2 weeks ago. Came in, stayed one night in town, left. Seemed on a big mission. I didn't talk to them much. Um, let me ask. You see, he kind of walks around the bar and heads up the stairs. You hear muffled yelling for someone named Brick and Griffin. About a minute passes, and he comes down. Yeah, we don't know exactly where he went, but he mentioned something about going westward. I would have reason to believe he kept going. No problem. Gives you a nod. Glad to be of service to a fellow friend. He walks back around the counter. You want a drink? You see, takes out. He takes a look at you. Hmm. What would be Seer's favorite drink? Okay. You see, he looks at your face, kind of reading your vibe. Goes and picks a nice um, light wine off of the shelf. Kind of pours you a little bit of it. Hands you the glass. Anything for you? He looks this Senti. I was gonna guess water. He kind of goes behind the counter, takes a large mug, and just begins pouring water into a cup. Hands it off to you. Gotta take care of the plants. You see Chad kind of almost fluffs up in the way that a fire beetle can, and like does a couple blinks as he goes down, and just begins sucking up water. Mm-hmm. You see Richtoff behind the counter. I've never seen a creature like that. Can I pet him? He's still a beetle.
He's still a living creature.
Yeah. His name is a fire beetle, but mostly they're just like light creatures. They're like giant fireflies. Yeah, like a giant firefly. You use a spell slot? Yeah. Um, Chad responds, "Yes, he can." He kind of like reaches over and seems to just like run his fingers up the kind of like the exoskeleton, kind of just like feeling them. Interesting. Does a few couple pets and then kind of draws back. Oh, I'm glad you all stopped in. And you tell your little friend that if he ever needs any more water, he's all right in my book. You hear in the distance behind um, essentially a wood wall that separates the bar, long, elongated bar with the tables and other benches and stuff. You hear someone like clears their throat really loudly. He kind of looks over. I have to go take care of some customers. If you have anything else, let me know. Gives you a nod as he grabs a large bottle and begins making his way around. But you got some information. Okay. So, lastly, Faradir and Mebehi. Right on time. Can you hear us, Mebehi? Okay. You're just so you know, your mic is on. If you want muted or not. Okay. So, Mebehi, right now you all have all flown across the kingdom and have landed in the city of Draken, searching for Belric's paladin trainer. Um, and right now, you and Faradir are going to team up and are going to a shadier part of town to ask about information for this guy. Okay. So, the two of you begin heading your way into a seedier part of the city of Draken. Um, since there's no place that you're exactly heading to, um, as you head into that area, I would just like you, either both of you, to make investigation checks, or one of you with advantage.
Oh gosh, investigation isn't my strong suit.
Mabehi's it might be.
Maybe? I rolled 2. Roll 20 is also very picky about parameters.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chrome is pretty good for roll 20.
Oh yeah.
What is Mavehi's investigation like?
Um,
I've got a
it's it's a 0, so
I guess I'm the one investigating.
unless Mabehi you want to roll. I can if you want I can just almost screenshot it for you and just send it to you.
It easy like that?
Yeah. If you have get like an Ethernet cable. There should be an Ethernet box essentially in
Don't
your room.
think you have Ethernet.
Yeah.
My laptop doesn't have an Ethernet port, so I'd use an adapter, and my
Oh,
Ethernet also doesn't like the adapter, so it's going great.
that's weird.
It does not. You'd think a literal gaming laptop would have one, but it has 2 USB ports. That's it. And one headphone
That's
jack and no Ethernet.
that's so weird.
It is absolutely whack.
That's kind of shitty.
There is an HDMI port though, just in case I need that. It actually takes the pictures even.
That's that's super weird. Yeah, I'm actually I'm astonished.
What kind is it? It's the Zephyrus something with a G14. I don't know. It was one on at Best Buy that wasn't like
It's
super
Ace. Is it
expensive,
Asus?
but it wasn't like super super. I think I don't know. Oh wait, I literally have the box right here.
Yeah.
It's it's a ROG Zephyrus.
Okay. Yeah. It's Asus then. Interesting. Yeah.
Also overheats very much. It's like a known issue with this model is that it just gets hot.
Yeah. Also, I'm
I
looking at.
literally have it on a Korean like setup thing and only run it just from in a browser.
Dang. I'm actually looking. I'm looking at the pictures online, and yeah, there clearly is no. Yeah, there's none, no Ethernet at all.
Yep.
How are you about to have a gaming laptop with no Ethernet? That's ridiculous.
I don't know. Also doesn't have a webcam. It's really dissing a lot of things a gaming laptop should have.
A laptop in general, just
Yeah, for real. I have a separate like webcam thing that I still need to figure out how to set up so that if I need it, I can attach one to this laptop, but
yeah, just like
it's something.
a USB webcam. Yeah.
I don't know if it's USB or not. I hope it's not because I only have 2 USB ports and one is for my mouse. The other one is
Damn.
next to the cooling pad.
Well, that
We make USB splitters.
I think they do, don't they?
Yeah, you can buy like a USB hub.
Yeah.
Bro.
They get like four extra ports for like one.
I honestly don't know if my laptop can handle that though.
Just get two cooling pads.
um,
So you get two USB splitters, and then each of them has one its own cooling pad. And then you also have your mouse and then any other USB you need.
but I can only put one cooling pad under my laptop.
Well, you put the other one, like, tape it to the front of it. I don't know.
Just put it over the keyboard.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah, I don't need the keyboard. Put one on over the screen, one over the keyboard.
Yeah.
I'll just get like a bucket of liquid nitrogen and just
Oh yeah, just dip.
styrofoam floaty thing, and then just set my laptop in a styrofoam boat in a bucket of liquid nitrogen. It'll be very safe.
That sounds like a perfect idea. I mean, who wouldn't do that?
This is innovation at its finest. Nothing bad could happen.
Funny enough, people actually do that with like Ash computers to pull down their CPU using that.
Oh yeah, like I've seen those fancy things where it's like there's like an atomic reaction going off in this thing that's keeping it cool.
It's
That's whack.
there's
Cute.
huh.
Use
there's a person on TikTok who he designed this whole computer so that it's like all open, like it's all glass on the inside. It's really nice. Has like all the art, has all the RGB inside. It's beautiful, but you can like see directly inside of it because he pours mineral water into it. Because mineral water is not non-conductive. So
Keep your computer hydrated.
yeah, every so often he buys another bottle and tops it off because it evaporates.
The ironic thing is that when you do the whole light setup, that you need more cooling because the lights are also hot.
Yeah.
It's like you really just going further down this hole.
Anyways, D and D.
I don't like saying the depths of a computer. It makes me uncomfortable. Like I shouldn't be seeing that. That's private. Anyway, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes. So the two of you are heading into the kind of shadier section. Yeah. I need investigations.
I guess I could do it with advantage since I have a slightly better bonus. You good with that, Rebecca? I will as well. Ooh. Do I want to use inspiration?
Inspiration.
Yeah, I've had an inspiration point for like a long time. I just never used it.
Oh yeah, you do, don't you?
well, you got it. You got that from me.
I know,
Well,
but like with inspiration, my advantage was dog shit.
yeah.
I'm not gonna use it. I feel like it'd be more important in like a battle.
Okay.
Got 11.
You save the luck that you got from defeating everyone else in a strange,
Yeah, it was from the battle royale.
yeah, in a strange mind battle royale.
And I keep forgetting I have it, and every time I load up my character sheet, I'm like, oh yeah, I have that. I should remember to use it, and then I don't.
Okay. And 11, asking around, you begin, asking normal people on the street, and really, no one seems to know who you're talking about. You specifically came to the seedier part of town, and most people don't even really want to talk to you. And it doesn't seem like you're getting much from here. Sadly.
Well, we
you want to go to a different section?
What do you think, Mackenzie? Where should we go now? What areas have people not gone to?
Um, yeah, that's the only um, yeah, named location.
Too
I
bad
mean,
we go.
yeah, technically you haven't asked around in the city, uh, in other spots. Yeah, it's just in like, you really are the only ones who've gone in a unnamed city location to just investigate. Yeah, you can. You head to the Wasted Workshop.
Yeah, might as well.
Okay. Heading over, you see once again in this back alley, you see the single dangling sign of the Wasted Workshop, and this small, unimposing building. Uh, who currently outside of it? It's night. Right now, you see a black-haired gentleman is currently just smoking a pipe outside, watching you approach, and gives you a nod as you walk in through the front door. Um, Immediately, there is a loud energy throughout the place as there seems to be some drinking game going on. And you look off to your left side and you see that about 12 or so drunken individuals are currently having a drinking contest with a severed stone head that is speaking. It is a strange sight. And as you
Metal.
and as you take in this sight, immediately from the back of the room, you hear, "Oi, come here!"
I turn. Are they like talking to me?
Yeah, you see behind the counter a grumpy-looking dwarf has just spotted you, and it's kind of like waving you over to him.
I will approach.
I'm assuming that you're looking for Adriel.
Yes.
Okay, he'll be right up. You want a drink?
No, thank you. I am good.
You want a drink? Looks over to Mebehi. He just sighs at that. He goes back to cleaning some of his glasses, and you hear him just mutter under his breath something. However, in a few moments, the back door opens as you see a familiar figure who you've met once before kind of walks out, takes a look at both of you. Oh, hi. I've seen you both before. Um, how's Gamesh doing?
He's good.
Good. Can I help you?
Perhaps we are looking for a bugbear in a lot of armor. A paladin?
Paladin. Um, I've not seen any bugbears. I don't really leave. Um, you'd be better off asking um the guy out front. He'll probably have a better answer for you. Um, yeah, you can ask Joseph.
We will do this.
Okay.
And Fairdale just give like an appreciative nod and then head outside.
Okay. You head back outside, and you see the again this man, somewhat short, about 5'7", like middle aged, probably in his 40s, with green eyes, very tan skin, um, very like light on his feet, with a shock of it's actually dirty blonde hair, and he's just currently smoking away on this long pipe, and clocks you walking out of the establishment. You weren't in there for very long.
We are here on the you said we have been directed to you.
Takes a quizzical look at you. Why me?
We were told you might know or have heard of a Bugbear Paladin.
You see a realization comes across his face. I know him.
Will you tell us who he is?
See, he takes another big puff of his pipe, kind of ends it. You see, dumps out all the ash and kind of cleans it up. Begins putting it away. Yeah. Takes one last look at you. Down at Mebehi. I've never met him before, but I travel in certain circles just to keep information tight to the chest. I know what he was searching for. I didn't give him the information. Some other thief did. But he was, looks around left and right. He's looking for the brigand's barge. Have you ever heard of that?
Have I heard of that?
Make a history check.
Not great at these either.
I bet he can make one as well.
Oh, shut my dirty mouth. I am great at it.
Damn.
I know the shit out of this bridge.
You've heard of the name of the brigand's barge before.
Barge, not bridge.
It's kind of a legend, kind of a myth. Everyone knows that thieves permeate every section of society. And sometimes, if they get powerful enough, they find a place to headquarter themselves. And a lot of times, those places are raided by guards and high up officials. Supposedly, according to legend, the greatest thieves in the world gathered in a spot where they could all gather and be free, have their own laws, their own rules, their own society, where they could head every operation that the brigands organization could ever want, where no one could ever touch them. Brigand's Barge is supposedly the headquarters of the Thieves Guild within the kingdom.
You have heard of this place yet?
It's legend, but there's a hint of truth. Any normal thief would never even be heard talking about it, just so you know. You'd have to pay a hefty price to even find its name.
Do you know what he wants with this place?
No clue. I just know he was running his mouth about it. Supposedly, the only way you can even head to the barge is if you're personally invited by one of the guild's leaders, any of the spires. That personal invitation is the only way in. Otherwise, I doubt you'll ever find it yourself. No one else has.
Interesting. Well, I thank you for your time and this information, and I will give him a gold piece.
He hands it back to you. I work for a living. I'm totally fine.
Alright.
Just if you happen to find your way there, leave my name out. If you even know my full name.
Whose name?
My name.
I have a feeling I know it. Harrier tries to be like polite. Yeah.
There's a second and he goes then he goes,
Completely backfired.
"Oh. Oh, you meant me. Oh. Thanks." It takes him a second to realize what you were going for.
It's probably hard because Faraday's expression is always very stoic and very like very hard to read. She does not look.
Yeah.
No. Not like my gym teacher.
Yeah. He
Honestly,
Interesting. So,
let's do it.
gotta love high school.
Honestly, she'd be a good gym teacher. Would you say that's not?
Yeah, people would be scared to mess with her.
Yeah, she'd be like, give me 20 push-ups, and no one would argue.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, you'd be whipped into great shape by the end of the school year.
Oh, I
Oh yeah.
just imagine dodgeball with Faraday.
Faraday is not legally allowed to play dodgeball.
She'd find a way.
She is banned from playing it. She's accidentally committed murder during requirements for dodgeball.
He like finally black only dodgeball team.
What was that?
No, nothing. Just saying like trying to find like a Goliath only team.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch what you said, but yes, that'd be amazing.
Third year is only allowed to play all the giant
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Me and
Even
my
even
friends
other
cloud giants.
even other Goliaths would have a hard time keeping up with Faraday.
Third year learns how to play dodgeball without playing.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the game. After that, I guess we leave and head. Do we ever say where we're meeting up? Yeah, I guess we can just like start making our way there.
Okay.
Not too much. Do you think we will rush there?
Yeah. So, you all find your way back in the central part of the city and find the three-story building of the Scales Tavern. So, you all find a seat in an open booth and are able to begin talking.
I have probably very good information.
Great. You got just what?
We learned that he is after the brigand barge. Don't know why, but he is looking.
Oh my. Where is that exactly?
Oh, it is like the thief headquarters. It is where they all go when they don't want to deal with other people, I suppose.
Like a law, I guess?
Yes, it's like their own little village, city. They have their own rules and laws and things like that. This
So, if that's where he's headed, you may want to get in contact with the gnomes like the top level people. Right. Either him or
Delu.
yeah, Master. No, wait, if I'm not mistaken. I'm saying we have two technical contacts. That's very true. Right. And if that doesn't go through, we can just cross the boundary. But he's gonna want something powerful.
Welcome.
Alright, next now or
That was a fast quiz.
I was about to say that. I just typed the same thing.
Speed run.
Right now, at this point, it's nearing 9 o'clock.
yeah, why not? Who knows? Even contacts have been talking about this, and it might stop some forces. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely don't want those while sleeping.
Well, if Rico asked me about their secret base, that might wake them up. But maybe so. Exactly. So rest up first. Not worry about sleeping. Relax. Okay. Well, didn't find much water. That's a start. Have to celebrate with a drink.
Yeah. So at this time, Richtofen is still. Sorry, Richthof is still the bartender for the night. So he'll get you whatever you want, as long as it's not excessive. He might start charging you, but like for now.
I'll just start with a nice round for everyone that wants one. Oh well, yeah, pretty much. But
Okay.
no, I'll take just one round of ale, I guess.
Okay. Just a normal ale or any specific brand.
Uh, uh, yeah, not gonna be too good.
Yeah.
I'll get a whiskey one.
Okay. Easy enough.
Our big villain for against the Legion Gaming Club. We put logos on like our equipment and stuff to say thank you for being our announcer place. They know.
What? what you need to do, what you need to do is during the big fancy dinner with the king, wear like Wesker branded ale merch. It would be great. Going once, twice. Fair enough. Um, being so closely affiliated and good friends with the Terra, your room and board is covered. You all are able to sit down, relax. A lot of traveling over the course of the day, but you all head off to sleep. Belric, you open your eyes to find yourself walking through the quiet, empty streets of this city at night. Soft music seems to fill the space around you, and it almost seems to be leading you. What do you do? Okay. Begin following it westward through the city. You find yourself being led out of the city, walking across rocky hills and crag, and then you reach the top, and you begin to look down into an expansive, massive marsh stretching as far as you can see. This is a space that you didn't go the last time, but you know the music's leading you there. What's the end of your dream? For the rest of you, your dreams are normal, mundane, and pleasant as you all awaken within the Scales Tavern. So, what are you all doing? Okay. How do you contact? Okay. So, what do you send to Madame Deleu?
Would you be willing to talk to us about
You hear it connect and ready yourself for the reply. I don't know the individual. But you should contact Malcolm. I'm not permitted to speak more about this. Sorry. That's the end of her message. Well, her end of the message is just sorry.
Okay, good. I'll sigh, and I'll cast something again, and the same thing to Malcolm.
Okay.
Once third level spells are left behind.
You send the same message to Malcolm. So, I know who you're talking about. He is here. We should talk in person. Meet me on the Dead Road. The Dead Road is the road that bypasses the Deadlands.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I heard correctly.
Yeah.
Is it the dead road or dead road?
No. He said Dead Road. Then he says, I'll see you there.
Hey guys, good news. Malcolm's agreed to meet with us in person on the death road. We should probably hightail it there. Yeah. Unless he's just trying to get us there.
Yep, I'm all set. How long do we think it'll take this thing for?
Walking, yeah. You could probably get there, honestly, within about 12 hours. No, about maybe 4 hours or so. Yeah. Actually, yeah, more like 6. Sorry. Yeah. A day's worth of travel, basically. Well, half a day's. So. um, I Okay. You all head off, leaving the city of Draken, making your way along the river road, heading towards your destination. You begin to climb the rocky bits of the country as you notice that the fairly flat terrain that houses the large forest begins to spike up and become craggy, rocky lands. To the north, you know, from or at least a few of you know, and can see the small gnome village of Nim far off in the distance. But you have a different destination. As you head and pass over the top of one of these rocky hills, you immediately note, far below, a massive expanse of swamps. A space you've all seen before. To the far left, you see the mountain pass that you took the last time you came this way. You see the large fortress standing tall on the mountains, barely visible beyond some of these winding cliffs. And before you, you see everlasting swamp. What do you do?
I think I'll just speak up and say, I had a dream, I think about this swamp actually, but I don't know what it means. No, I kind of just walked here, then saw it, and dream ended. Yep, seems so.
Okay. You all continue forward. Okay. Descending down the hill, you follow the road. And you do note that this space is not empty. At the very start of this swamplands, you note what seems to be somewhat ramshackle guard houses. You see short towers, and you see a small contingent of Draken silver guards are currently stationed here at the entrance. They wish you good luck as you all begin passing by. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Silver cloaks are guarding the entrance into the Deadlands. You all pass by. They wish you luck, and you descend further across this road. It is slightly elevated, so there is not too much muck as you begin walking this space. Clearly, the road network here is very closely monitored. As you begin to descend further and further in, many bugs start hassling all of you, as well as your noses are harassed by the smell of decay, smells of just almost like natural decay, not rotting bodies, just swamp smells. You hear loud croaks constantly walking through the space as you are encompassed by an almost unending swamp. As you begin trudging your way across this pathway, anyone who wants to can make a perception check. Okay. Pretty good. For the majority of you. So, Gamesh and Seer, you both are slightly preoccupied as you begin traversing this swamp. You feel like, as you pass through, the guards get less and less prevalent as the center of the swamp becomes the most dangerous part of it. Faradir, Belric, Mabehi, and Senti. Walking along, you hear the normal sound of small frogs and toads surrounding you, as well as natural bird and other animal sounds as they seem to just fill the space with noise. And then you all hear a loud croak, aside from Seer and Gamesh, who otherwise are distracted by some other object in the distance. But the four of you hear this loud single croak, more than a frog. And then you hear as another one seems to echo it on the right side of the main road. First one happening on the left. As these dozens of frog sounds begin filling the space, you see movement. And this is probably when Gamesh and Seer notice as well, as the water seems to fill, and you see these large frog creatures begin essentially fleeing. On the right side, you see they immediately begin swimming as far right as they can, and just start full sending it into the swamp before you. Confused, on the left side, you see about 8 or so of these large bipedal toads just clamber up onto the road network. A few of them taking looks at you all as they begin running across it. What are you all doing? They are running, seemingly. Okay. You see about 3 or 4 of them jump off of this side of the road network into the the right side of the swamp and begin swimming their way across. You see 2 more are left, just about to jump onto the other side. As 2 more, the last, essentially the 2 that are lagging the most behind, climb up on top of the road network and get about halfway before you all notice another noise of splashing coming from the left side. Suddenly, the water bursts forth as a large, toothy maw snaps into those 2 small frog creatures, and they are gone, swallowed, demolished. You hear, as climbing out of the water, a large creature covered in black scales. These 2 long horns, parallel with the large face of this creature, seem to go and turn towards you all. As climbing out of the water, wings extended, you see a large black dragon kind of looms upward, cocks its head at all of you, and takes one single look to where all the other toad creatures are fleeing towards, and looks back at you all. What do you do? Just so you all know, it's about 40 feet in front of you. Yeah, you can. You activate. Yeah, you can. Anyone else do anything?
I'm going to invoke East Rune to make my strength a little better.
Okay. Thinking?
Do I have enough time to invoke two?
Um, this is essentially just a single round that you have to do whatever you wish. Yeah.
I will.
Okay.
Well, that's okay.
Damn it, I wish I could do a bonus action and then an action.
Okay. So, Mabeki, you hide. Make a stealth check. And then, Senti, do you turn into an animal or you just think about it? I don't know what that is. I sure, yeah. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, you can easily turn to that if you want. Okay. Lastly, Belric. What are you doing?
I'm gonna cast Bless on myself, Beardir, and Nimesh.
Okay. You cast Bless. All of you ready yourselves in a split 6 seconds. You each ready your weapons, ready your spells, and yourselves for combat. And you see this large black dragon takes a single step towards you all, its head getting real low to the ground as it eyes you hungrily, greedily. And you see its head begins rising up once again. As you all hear from behind you, Cornelis, don't. Go right now. You all turn quickly to see a small gnome standing behind you all. The dragon cocks its head slightly and splashes into the water, disappearing, chasing after the remainder of those toad creatures. You all are so lucky that I am here. It's good to see all of you again.
You're a pet dragon.
Oh, it's not a pet. It is a very vicious creature. It just knows not to mess with us. Come, let's talk. And you see he takes a few steps towards the right embankment, and you immediately note that there is a small, almost like push canoe. Well, yeah, like almost like a gondolin, essentially. That is slightly big. Yeah, just like last time. Yeah. Take a seat. He gets up to the front. Okay. Everyone else hops on?
Yep.
Hesitantly.
Okay, one second, please. Sorry, I'm back. Um, yeah, you can easily get in as a snake. Um, and yeah, you see Malcolm kind of takes the head of the boat, kind of takes a seat, and once you're all on, he merely waves his hand, and you see the boat just begins to effortlessly drift across the brackish, still water of this large swamp. In the distance to the north, you hear loud crashing and a louder roar echo across these swamplands. And you see Malcolm kind of smiles a little bit. Swamps are the perfect home for black dragons. There's only so much the kingdom can do in monitoring them. They respect us enough. They'd rather live than die. So, you all came here for a reason.
Yeah, I can do that. So, basically, I'm looking for just about everything. For who's looking for the Brigand's Forge. Do you know anything about that place?
Can I ask who told you?
People around.
I know the place. You have to be invited to get in. And luckily enough, this individual may or may not have been invited. Why do you seek them?
Well, he used to be my former mentor, and I'm just trying to find him.
Why do you think he would show himself at the home of the very best thieves and murderers in all of the kingdom?
I honestly do not know, and that's why I'm trying to find out why.
Interesting. You see, he looks behind him, and you see yourselves softly touch down in a small, enclosed grotto. The ground here actually seems somewhat solid, if a little mushy. He kind of looks back towards all of you. Come inside. We'll talk in person then. And you see he waves his hand and just disappears. Yeah. You see a small, almost like a singular teepee in the center of this secluded grotto. A single individual currently stands outside of it. Um, you see some, probably some sort of member of the Thieves Guild wearing studded leathers, slicked back hair, a couple scars across the face, um, carrying what seems to be a short sword on one hip, and on the other, a series of knives just across the belt. One of their hands just currently resting on that sword hilt as he kind of looks towards the open flap of the tent, almost inviting you in. Upon walking in, it's a fairly standard sized tent, but all of you seem able to fit in. In the far back of it, there is a somewhat small desk compared to you all, and there you see the same individual is calmly working away at some paperwork as you all begin to file in. The individual is this small, gnomish fellow, about 3'6". He has a shock of bright purple hair, and you see his eyes are these very dark brown eyes. You see he has a large, intricate tattoo of a black hand pulling down on his left eye. You see, ever so slightly, it seems to be moving, and almost like as if the fingers are moving to grasp the eye itself. You see on his arms, his left one holds, kind of pulling down where his sleeves are cut. You see a large, almost like tentacled monster is pulling down some sort of ship, and you see the tentacles slowly move and writhe in the tattoo, and the sea seems to almost like billow and move ever so slightly. Um, on the other arm, you see just the bare minimum of what seems to be some sort of winged creature. You see what seems to be some sort of flaming whip near the bottom, as the head of the creature is kind of blocked by part of the sleeve. The whip seems to ever so slightly move and almost. It's as if all of these tattoos are alive and moving across his body. Um, and his shirt is open. This fairly plain white tunic that seems to be open across the chest. You see a little bit of chest hair sticking out the front of it, but you also see is a massive tattoo, and very clearly, just at the base of his neck, is the head of a very familiar dragon creature that seems to just be ever so slightly breathing, its mouth going open and slowly closing very slightly. Currently, he finishes up his paperwork, eyeing you all as you fully filter into the room, slides it into a completed section, puts away the quill, gives you all a big smile. Back to where we were. You all are not thieves whatsoever. You are not murderers. If anything, you are. How would I put this? You've helped us in the past. It's true. But what you want to enter is something a little different. It takes a lot of trust to show you this place. And I would need to trust you all. What would you all be willing to do so that I can trust you? I would like to know a lot. I want to know the good, the bad. I need to have some form of leverage over all of you. So that if you do, in fact, make a mess in the sanctuary of all rogues and thieves, that you could be held accountable. So, you see he picks up the quill, takes out many sheets of paper, and begins twisting them around on the desk. Each one he flips. You see he takes the quill, puts it in both of his hands, like holding the base of it together, and splits it into 6 different quills. One for each of you. I desire your family, sets one of the quills down on the first piece of paper. I desire your friends and allies, all your organizations that you're a part of, sets the other quill down. Takes out the third quill. Your fears, your goals, your dreams. What do you aspire to be? Sets down that quill. Takes the next quill. The worst thing that any of you have ever done. Killed a man in cold blood? Stolen food from a beggar? Whatever. Sets that quill down. and the last quill. And just seems to drop it as it slowly floats down onto the last piece of paper. Whatever else you feel is necessary for me to know. One for each of you. I hope all of you have pretty good handwriting. Be truthful, be honest, and don't see this as a punishment. Every thief who is invited to the Brigand's Barge is known. They are made. I will be making all of you. You will be well trusted. You will have resources you never could have imagined. But still, a little leverage goes a long way. Oh, and by the way, he snaps his finger. That the person who turned into the snake will need to turn back. I feel bad that you all wasted some of your abilities. I know you probably expected to fight a dragon, but I couldn't allow you to. I would have felt bad. So, take as long as you need. If you have any questions, let me know. But please, if you wish to enter the barge, you must sign. You see, he stands up, moves the chair out from behind him, kind of slides it back into the desk. I'll give you all some privacy. Just let me know when you're finished. He waves his hand, and you see the tent almost seems to expand slightly, as small desks seem to almost apparate within the room, one for each of you. As he begins to walk out, the flaps close, and you are left within this tent. So I need to know what you all write. Yeah. Yeah. Just he made it kind of clear they want leverage. And you can almost be sure that they're going to double check. If you give them a fake family member, they're going to yeah, they're not going to be happy with that. Yeah. Yeah, you can send this privately to me, by the way. Um, yeah. You're trying to enter the home of the Thieves Guild. He's actually being really nice to you if you think about it. He's just yeah. I mean, you kind of did, didn't you? Hold up, let me. Yeah, I mean, at least you have your family all have names, huh? Ooh, I'm just wondering what you're gonna put. Yeah. Friends could also be allies as well. I can. Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember he did say allies. Yeah. A lot of them are probably going to be the same as like as a group. You've met a lot of people. So if you want, one of you can just do like allies. Um, just so like because most of you are going to have the same thing. Yeah. Just divulge. Do it. Oh. Um. To an extent. My only my only idea is um, when you walked away in Stanton and got mind controlled by the vampire. That's the only. That's only like the only failure you've ever had. Where like you know. It's not. It's not really the worst thing you've ever done, but like I mean, yeah. Oh yeah. Well, she was flirting with you too. She was flirting with you too. That family that family's toxic. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. He asked for Senti to ship back. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, the goblin. This year, the goblin was nothing. When you murdered a goblin.
Third year, I couldn't swim until 2 months before finals. I mean, yeah, that's true. I got we all have to get some more rap sheet and some activities to stick with it for like a couple of months. Yeah, I mean, she's pretty chill person. She was just living up in the mountains for her whole life. There's not much to do up there.
Would just hopefully drink, stay safe.
I you're supposed to go with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'm supposed to drink, stay safe, and then go.
Yeah.
I think separately or like, but I think you picked it together.
Yeah, you can definitely do those two together. Yeah, and also like your worst action could be also be your deep secret. So
That's true. I can't think of any secrets, but if I do, I'll let you know, Bryn.
I mean, you easily Faraday could just not know and just leave that empty. Like
Yeah, I mean, she's like,
just put like yeah, just put I have none.
yeah. I don't think we have to give Kevin more than his information, just enough for him to get like enough of a choice now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, my friend is.
You don't have to give it.
For my deepest secret, I'll do the thing. What are the last? Say your full name.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Yeah, making a statement again. Looks good.
It's late. No, think ahead. Nice stuff.
You
Very good.
say my brain works in strict business hours. 8 to 5, then it's shut off. Listen, routine is one strictly put into processing. Facts. Could take longer, depending on the complexity. Yeah. It helps me with self-esteem, but it also puts like a breathe in your face when you're doing stuff. Yeah. You're just on hold for a while until
Yeah.
you start to connect the dots. Yeah. And then you get a call back from them and this scenario, so please make it personal, but it was really then you get it back and now you have to rework those shebang again to get an explanation. Yeah.
Okay.
Does make sense because you wanted me to ask him for an appointment and wanted an email back.
Okay.
So now you've lost your opportunity. Yeah. Now you need to make an appointment. And you'll never hear from them again.
No, it's gonna be like 5 minutes later.
Brandon, how far away are you at finishing it?
I'm just on like two. It's just like the worst actions and deep secrets is the only two I haven't filled out yet.
Okay. You honestly, if you don't have any, you don't have to. Like you can just put I don't have any.
Oh, okay.
Like if really you don't think your character has done something truly not good, I feel like as a paladin you're pretty noble thus far.
If I was Sarah, I would just fully have to leave these blanks.
Yeah.
Sarah has done nothing wrong in her entire life.
Nope. She's the sweetest bean.
She is baby. Well, she's gentle mother baby. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And her kid are 16.
Oh yeah.
You're not wrong.
That's just
Well, that's her daughter. Sarah, it's a rule saying she's not adopted. It's the other way when you're a living parent. You know that's true. That is correctly yes. He unintentionally communicated that by putting him to sleep. Yeah. It was like, listen, I was just a taxi. I didn't know they robbed a bank.
you see all the bags and money. I'm looking at the hole.
Yeah. I assumed it was mine. I don't ask questions.
Last time I asked questions, the girl stuffed it into a bag.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, April. She got molested.
Oh, relax. Listen.
Yeah.
Can't see how focused on listening.
I don't. I hear they kill a teddy bear. Which is good. Where is it?
Okay. So eventually you all finish. Once again, Malcolm walks into the room, walks over to where you've all gathered your sheets, and begins picking them up, pulls his chair out, takes a seat, and begins flipping. Looks up towards you, Belric. Just gives a smile. A noble paladin. Flips to the next page. You see the eyes widen slightly, and he looks up towards you, Ganesh. Sets the sheet down. Looks towards Senti. Interesting. Sets that sheet aside.
Cynthia has done the world's most vulnerable.
She's done crime.
Yeah, she has committed heinous crimes.
Flips to the next one. Zarin is the cloud giant, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Sets that sheet down. Looks towards you, Seer. Looks back towards the sheet. Sets that one down. Takes a look at Medehi's sheet. Grabs them all. Kind of straightens all of the papers. Opens up one of the desk drawers and slides it in. Shuts it. Just so you all know, this is for me. I won't share this with anyone else at the barge. You've helped me do some very good work. And I think you will get a lot out of what the barge has to offer. Just so you know, the barge was built many, many years ago. It's ancient and powerful. There are different castes within the barge. The thieves that call the barge their home are typically master thieves. Watch your coin purses outside of the barge with them around. Inside, thievery is punishable by death. Don't steal from your fellow thieves. That's all we ask. Killing is also banned on the barge, as long as it's not self-defense. If you have to defend yourself, someone is trying to break a rule, kill them. They are known as the thieves are known as the half-hands. The assassins, killers, murderers are known as the vipers. The mages are known as the Viceworn. Our muscle are known as the brigands. And the leaders that tie the whole place together, we are the spires. My name is Malcolm Gran. I am one of the spires. My name within the barge mostly refers to my many different tattoos. He looks down at his arm and then his other arm, kind of feeling up towards his chest, where you can see the dragon begins to shift and move even more. Many just seemingly will call me the Inked One, and there are many other spires, all with different monikers and different original talents. Well, I guess I should take you, since you all are now going to be allowed there. Follow me. He stands and begins to lead you all out of the tent, back towards the boat. You see the armed guard kind of follows along and sits at the very back of it. Malcolm waves his hand once again, once you are all aboard, and it takes off. Slowly, it skims its way through the muck and reeds, finding a path that none of you can tell. And eventually, you see Malcolm waits and waits with all of you for about a half hour, 40 minutes. And slowly the boat begins opening into this kind of small clearing. You see he looks behind him. We're here. He stands up. Going through the first time will probably take a little bit out of you, and as he says that, you all watch as, for a moment, he disappears with the front of the boat, as the person in front of you disappears, and then disappears, and then disappears, until all of you pass through this strange film in the air. It feels somewhat slimy at first touch as you almost break through this barrier. But once you're beyond it, the feeling dissipates. And in front of you, you see a massive complex. What seems to be almost a moving city, built atop large wooden barges, floating in the water. You see large chains wrapped in strange runes and deep magic connect to these large armored, what seems to be moving spouts of water as they twist and pull the barge in different directions. You see, as the barge is slowly moving, that As it comes in contact with islands and trees, you see bits of the barge seem to almost break up and shift and move. And you see as trees are coming towards these different homes and thatched buildings, that the buildings themselves seem to just split in half as a tree goes and slides through the building. As this whole complex, this massive floating barge, effortlessly moves through thick, dense swamp terrain with ease, as the entire thing just seems to be able to float effortlessly and build itself over any land and move through any obstacle. As you begin approaching what seems to be one of these outlying docks, you see dozens of different workers, all different manner of individuals. From orcs, you see a couple bugbears, you see humans, you see high elves, forest elves, you see dwarves. This place is filled with all sorts of individuals working and just living. Many seem to be offloading small bits of cargo where they can. As the small boat seems to dock, you see the rope immediately just ties itself to the dock as Malcolm steps off and moves his fingers to motion for you all to follow him. Okay. Taking a few steps, you begin to notice small sets of stairs leading further up into more elevated sections of dock. There, you see many crisscrossing pathways. Individuals, some seem to have nets as if they're trying to catch some local wildlife. Others seem to just be running errands, some guarding, others just relaxing in different establishments. You see one such place directly ahead seems to be handing out, some type of grilled food on a stick that these individuals are currently sitting at almost like picnic tables eating away at lunch or something like that. And he begins taking you up towards there, makes a right, and takes you further into the complex. You see dozens and hundreds of buildings. This is a massive space. And he takes you deep within the central part of this weird little city. Different individuals, you notice, have almost like identifying markers branded onto themselves as they walk by. Some you see almost like clasping hands. Some you see crossed daggers. Many of them seem to have what is almost like a fist with a brass knuckle on it. Every so often you see a certain individual seems to have some sort of open tome with a knife in it. And as you're walking, the more observant of you, anyone with a passive perception over probably 14, or 14 or higher, I mean, would also notice that almost branded into the almost shoulder bit of Malcolm seems to be a new piece of his wardrobe. You see a singular, what looks to be spiked tower on his wardrobe as he makes his way through this city. And individuals let you all pass. No one shoulder checks you. No one really even looks too much towards you all as they keep their heads down and just walk on past. Eventually, you're brought into the central area of this space. You see a massive courtyard has been built with many different stalls of individuals selling wares, most of which seem that they are probably stolen in some way. And the outlying sections of this large, almost like partial marketplace, is 5 large walled-off complexes. They look to be almost like manor houses built at the top of the barge. And he begins leading you towards one of these. A large building, painted with very dark colors on the outside. You see a large, essentially dark iron gate is currently latched closed with two of these guards standing in front of it, carrying the. They'd be having the symbol of what looks to be the dual daggers again. And he walks up, and they merely just open the gate, letting you all into a very nice courtyard filled with different grasses, and you see bird like watering fountains for birds to bathe and drink out of, and you see trees growing in the middle of this strange wooden city. He takes you to the front door, and it seems to just open in front of him. And you all step inside, greeted to a beautiful entrance chamber, marble flooring, a large spiral staircase stretches up into a second floor, and then possibly to the third. And he immediately just takes you to the right side, where there seems to be some sort of den, the fire already roaring. And he takes you in. Have a seat. So, you've all seen a little bit of the space. What do you think so far? Powerful magic. 500 years ago, no, over 500 years ago, the barge got an upgrade with the introduction of a powerful artifact. Many would call it a vestige. We used it to enhance the space and make our magic a little bit more powerful. The barge is well defended. We have scouts on every edge looking out. The film, as we call it, blocks all sight within, and the space, and you hear like some slight cracking as the wall seems to partially open up, and you see a couple mangroves seem to just enter into the space, and as they get close to your all legs, as you're kind of sitting down on these soft cushioned couches, the whole building seems to just move you out of the way of the mangroves as they begin passing through the building, and he just keeps talking like it's nothing. Additionally, the barge has abilities to move faster than this. It takes a lot out of it, but it can teleport throughout the space. There has been periods of great duress where we've even attempted to teleport outside the mountain into the sea itself, but we prefer the closeness of the swamp. People tend to not venture too deep unless they know its dangers, and we know its dangers. But I fear that now we must get down to business, as I know who you're all looking for, and I know possibly where they are at. This bugbear that came into the city, you said his name was Kor, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
A paladin. Currently, he's working with, I wouldn't say a friend of mine, more like a rival of sorts. He smiles. Yes. Do you know Aaron Shifri out of Dragon? Yes. Do you know how he got the position? He, along with many of the other higher up nobles, his sons, his extended family, were having a feast at the manor house. And come morning, they were all found to be dead. Strong magic killed them, and no one knew who did it. Many believed that it was one of the vipers out of the barge. They accused the guild of silencing a powerful family, and they are correct. Spire Adelphine, known as Melody Murderer, is the culprit. She murdered a whole family just because she could. She is devious, and I'm not the biggest fan, but she is a spire. And recently she announced, as I am going to have to announce you all, a new invited guest to the barge. This core individual. He wasn't staying at her manor house, as I want to know, but they've talked fairly often. Yes. That's her name. Spire Adelphine. First name is Melody. Yeah. So. No. She murdered the previous lord. Yeah. Yeah, that's how Shifu got into power. House, I believe it was House Yark. No. Let me get that correct. I want to make sure. Yeah, yeah. House Yark. That was who were murdered. And that's why the Shifus came to power. So, he usually stays at the Shaggy Rope. It's one of the smaller inns here. That'd be where you should probably start. Lots of new spaces. I am sorry. So, you have all the information you need. If you have any other questions, I can tell you about the many black markets we have here. Lots of contraband flows through this space, and, well, whereas the kingdom really doesn't have a central mage presence, we do. if you need anything enchanted, or to find some magical artifacts, I can point you in the right direction. But for now, I'll leave you to your business. You are made currently within the city, but you have no rank. So, you see, he waves his fingers, and almost burning into each of your clothes, right around the right shoulder. These different yellowish patches are formed. You see, you all have brass knuckles, almost burned in your clothes. That'll disappear once you leave the barge. But for now, if anyone asks, you're brigands. The lowest rung on the ladder. So, as you all take in this newfound space with its new information, I'm going to end this session here tonight. Yeah. So every so often a building will like almost split apart, like the wood itself moves so the trees can fit through. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I might have to update the map too, because technically, this is a. I had to take Brigand's Barge off that map. Normally it is on there. Not going to lie. Yeah, this is been a place probably since before the campaign. Oh, definitely before the campaign. Thieves need a home. Yeah. There's no good sewer systems, so yep. Mhm. Yeah, I don't know if you could tell, but it's also pulled through the water by water elementals. Yep. No. No, it's the same plane. Oh, you just joined a gang. Not going to lie to you. Like you 100%, you've all just joined the gang. Um, it is it's one of the biggest on the continent itself. I mean, yeah. There is one gang bigger in the world though. No. If you ever get to the city, I'll straight up tell you it. You'll know why if you ever get to that city. I mean, I don't know if you'll ever get there. It's one of my favorite cities ever designed. Um, yeah, sure. I'll just tell you. Um, let me make sure I get the name right. Um, it's called. There's my map. It's called Kalos. Essentially, it was the capital of all giants. So it's like it's a massive city, like imagine like New York but made for giants. So it's
Giants.
yeah. So yeah. So imagine New York made for giants. All the giants stopped living there. So now other people have taken control of it. Imagine those sewer systems made for giants. Yeah.
The best sewer system.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go there.
Yeah.
That's so
The
It's a good place.
I believe the main gate is well, it's made for all giants and it's supposed to be like kind of bigger than they are. It's like 50 feet tall. That's just like the height of the main gate. The main wall, like the outer wall, yeah, the main wall is like 200 feet tall.
Oh my god.
It's
Next to
huge.
sorry, Kate, Marion.
When I say it's one of my favorite cities, it really is one of my favorite cities. It's badass.
Sarah, you do not know what you've done.
You gotta go live in
It's a good creation. I love
Yeah,
it.
to the giant place. That's the mansion we bought. That's true.
Yeah, definitely.
The mansion is very fun.
You buy one house in the city of Kalos and you buy like essentially a whole apartment building.
I know Kai and I both like living within like the
Yeah. The only problem is all the steps in the city. Oh god.
Well, we have
We'll go on an escalator.
I would have assumed that all of the military was built each other.
They have. Yeah.
Do they have escalators?
They have technology.
We don't have electricity. Do they have
Um.
Well, not electricity with floating. We're talking about electric. Electricity.
well, yeah, but I mean like light bulbs.
I mean, not really.
Who's close?
I
We
wish.
should invent light bulbs.
We should invent escalators.
Like,
Yeah.
if we have to invent something, we might as well invent like electricity.
I also
My character is an artificer who invents electricity
here
and
I'll also do this just because I like where it's located too. I'll actually you got me in a good mood. I like dumping a lot of lore. That's where Kalos is located. It's at the central point of four different mountain ranges. Well, sorry, we're like four sections of splitting mountains converge.
wait, where?
Yeah. So there's four different ranges, and it just kind of sits in the center. So like the main castle sits in the very center on the top of the mountain, and then the rest of the city kind of is concentric rings stretching out.
Where is it?
Yeah, I sent a map. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
if we
Think of
TPK, we have to all agree to Magnet between this.
yeah. Think honestly when you think of the city, think of like kind of like Attack on Titan, where there's like the farming wall, where they have all the farms, and then the next wall in is like the main part of the city. It's very much like that. Yeah, but it's also made for giants, so yeah.
I always have the option of should I helicopter them to even a map?
Yeah, you guys can do whatever. It is an open world. I'm not stopping you.
I don't know why we would want to be there because we can't add moving here. Is literally like nowhere.
As long as you don't cast.
Oh well, yeah. As long as top tier does not cast magic. If
Yeah. Sent.
we class no class,
Yeah. Senti would be fine.
yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
Because we don't cast.
Nope. Or sorcerers. Yeah, or sorcerers. Clerics or natural.
Every other spellcaster is fuck, fuckier and crazy sorcerer.
Warlocks would probably also be a bad one. It's just yeah. Any nature based casters are. You can definitely try. There's a. I'm not going to say anything about that con. I think you might go there. Ooh. Hmm. I need to play them. Ooh. You're welcome. I mean, you have yeah, you guys got Faraday.
Believe it or not, Farragut cannot kill multiple giant spiders.
Oh, you say that now.
But honestly, I don't know. Multiple giant. It depends on
She could, she could deal damage, but she can't take that much damage. Like, giants deal a lot of damage.
exactly.
She's tanky, but like,
But
can't
what's
last many hits from a jump.
honestly, I think she could win.
Probably not.
Maybe not a storm. I mean,
Stone
honestly,
giant though, I
honestly,
could take a stone jumper.
a storm she could. It just it wouldn't be able to be one of like the power people. Maybe not like Thorin or Scott or Rob. It's possible,
Yeah.
but
Hey, quick question, Graham. Is there a storm giant?
I mean, they exist.
What was that?
They exist.
Is Darren a storm giant?
Oh no, he's a cloud giant.
Okay, then that's good. I thought so, but I was like, maybe I misheard.
Yeah. Storm
Storm
giants
giant.
storm giants are kind of like really
Yeah,
big,
they're
like
almost extinct or
yeah,
something.
they're like extinct and like really big loners in all honesty. And also they're good creatures. Like they you wouldn't catch them really being bad too much.
That's good. We can't take a storm giant.
Yeah. But cloud giants 50% chance to be evil.
Let's roll the odds. So far, we've met some good ones and one really evil one.
You haven't even met him.
We have seen
seen
from
him.
afar one really evil one. Level 20 is when we fight Darren.
Sure.
I don't like that answer, Graham. That
You could maybe
that
get
an that answer makes me uncomfortable.
maybe get a good level and a half, maybe 2 levels with him easily.
Well, level 13, we take on Darren and his entire army of cloud giants.
They really are.
Can't believe it.
I am excited for that whenever I get to level up into the Norland. The giant sun.
Fear, just reach your
Oh yeah.
full potential and conjure every demon in the abyss
Oh yeah.
besides the giants.
Oh yeah, because you're currently at level 11.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you haven't completed that potential elixir yet.
Nope. I need to focus on next level. I won't be able to break concentration on every spell summon.
Yeah.
9. I got so bad. Oh, next level 1. Then I get 2 uses of Indomitable.
Wait, what?
Yeah, those are a lot.
What level is Indomitable?
Then Faramir will have a +12 hit.
So it'll be like 7th level or 8th level.
9.
8. You get 2 more. So
Yeah, I get like a single 14th level spell.
yeah, but you're hitting at the freight train. I don't care.
That's true.
All the good stuff you do, you got there. Because it's so funny. Because you would think with the way Ganesh is described, Farouk might be a Demon Slayer instructor, but he's not. He's more of a healer, really.
I feel like Ganesh is control destruction, like a construction company.
Yeah, yeah. He's more of a demolition king, more than
Yeah. He doesn't go in there and destroy. He goes in there and methodically cuts what needs
Yeah, he's not as angry as he was.
I just rather use him that strategy when I start to get I just try to use stuff when I can.
Right. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't expecting him to be decent. I didn't think that.
Sorcerers usually are tanks.
Even with being like Christians, they still like
I think Brandon Storm Sorcerer was also a tank.
Yeah, he was real tanky, but I still had like the tough feet, so
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, they.
Good old Taldriel, he literally
Um,
became a god.
there was the one campaign I was in when I was a storm cleric. I had a stone sorcerer as well in there, and me and him were like the only tanks. In fact, I think he had a higher AC than me for like the first couple sessions. Yeah,
that stones are good.
it's really good.
I made a Tempest Cleric who has an AC of like 22 and a passive perception of 26. Yeah.
The best was probably like my least favorite though. I don't use any of his ice skills. I have a plus 9 in persuasion.
Same, bro.
I have a plus 9 in persuasion in case you have any friends.
I, I've used my Arcana. I have used that a couple times. Haven't used Intimidation. Haven't really used a whole lot of Acrobatics or Athletics.
But you know what
I've
he
got
does have?
Athletics a couple times.
But you know what he does have a lot? History. plus 1.
Yeah. Yeah, plus 2.
Yeah, you get so lucky on those.
I know. It makes me like a part of me wants to just take the skills and just like go ahead and just get what you need, but at the same time it's like it doesn't just sit somewhere for me. I just like just getting lucky. It's like it's too much for me. But guys, I think I'm ahead of.
Oh yeah, I have to go too.
I'm like 90% done anyway, so
Oh damn.
Bro, go eat.
I took a nap and I forgot.
I mean, mood, but as someone who does go like days without eating, can you
Oh,
Yes.
I can't go days. I could go maybe like a majority of the day, but you're better than me. I couldn't do it. I couldn't
it
do it.
I don't do it willingly.
Well, I couldn't do. I probably pass out at work, and that wouldn't
Oh
be
yeah,
fun.
it's not fun.
That
No.
wouldn't be fun. Like I've done fasting. I've done fast, but
Your body really does. My body doesn't like me not eating, but it also doesn't like me eating. So there's a bit of an issue I'm running into. Yeah.
okay. Well, I am gonna head on. Good session, Nathan. Good session.
Good session. Thank you all for playing. Have a good night.